And then we get to making those word choices. So I've made a big focus throughout the project. Words for All itself is about having that breadth and richness of vocabulary. You only are able to use that in your writing if you do lots of reading and if there's talk about that, but also you've got those basics of spelling. One of the pieces of research I cite in the book is pupils who don't feel confident spelling an ambitious word won't use it. So we can see the connections across here. But ultimately, I think what the evidence seems to show about practice in English schools is that we can need to shrink the complexity down to single sentences, mastering those and then building up with that more extended writing. But we too often take for granted the simple opportunities of singular sentences. And we get mired in these kind of, grammar debates and, fronted adverbials and, kind of different tests, etc. But they don't make for better writing. So it's what are the moves in that chess game to improve word choices, to improve writing. So I've drawn these sentence approaches, these 4 areas of sentence building from the best available evidence. The strongest area of evidence for improving writing, particularly for struggling writers, is sentence combining, taking a couple of sentences and combining them into one complex sentence, taking 3 simple sentences and combining them into one complex extended sentence. And you can really shrink it down. You do sentence combining in year 1 as much as in year 11. But this is one of the moves to help build that complexity. And then sentence expanding is another obvious one. If we think about writing in history, well, we're writing about King Henry VIII, and we're trying to describe and add clauses, add detail about that historical figure. Or we could be, in English, describing our main character and adding layers of detail. So being explicit about adding in clauses, extra information in an information text, extra detail in narrative description. One of the strategies that's about 500 years old is taking a sentence and trying to rewrite it in as many ways as possible. Erasmus, in about the 15th century, had a strategy where he took a simple sentence and he rewrote it over 100 times with slightly different wording and expanding it and adapting it slightly. And this focused practice on single sentences is actually really key to get that skill, that basics ready for then the extended writing. And sentence shrinking as well. This is where the summarizing comes in. Pupils are reading lengthy, tricky paragraphs. Can they summarize longer sentences to simple sentences? Can they summarize paragraphs to single sentences? And then the signposting, that kind of one of those key ways to help build argumentation. So another great book about writing, The Writing Revolution, often people take from that because but so as a really nice way of thinking about how one single sentence structure can build upon ideas. And of course, they can help with talk as well. But these are the moves that if we can hone these are the basics that give pupils the strength to write in science, history, to write in year 6 or year 4. And there's some common ingredients of academic writing as well. And this is where we basically need to know these moves, be confident. Our RE teachers, our art teachers, our English teachers need to be able to understand a similar style of what makes academic writing. And we start doing it far earlier than we assume. We start doing it in year 4, but by year 11, we're assuming all of our writing is academic in style. So what are the moves? So there are some really clear moves that we need to keep on modeling. So there's probably a bit too much here to make notes on, but we might just look at these moves and think, right, in our year 7 curriculum across our different subjects, where are these moves being practiced? Are we expanding our noun phrases in art for our annotation, in history to describe different figures in history? Are we using tentative language when we're writing in geography? Are we adding those apositives in our essay writing, etc.? And this starts much earlier, but often it gets practiced really well in year 5 and year 6. Noah writes brilliantly in parentheses. He uses brackets brilliantly, really skillfully. But then is that going to be sustained in year 7 as a real clear move? And these are the things we need to show by lots and lots of modeling. Just giving them a label doesn't mean very much at all. Lots of examples, and be really clear what's friendly vocabulary and language and what's formal academic language. And we need to be able to make the jump between the two, our pupils in particular.